And as far as like ghosts of the past coming out, it's like I had to hang out in the neighborhood for quite a while against the wishes of people with their flashing fucking lights to wait for fucking messages from people who would come out of the fucking woodwork for somebody who is connected to, you know, I'll be blunt, my old man that I had nothing to do with before I was even born. And I had, despite the wishes of these fucking flashing light motherfuckers, to be out there and wait for these fucking creepos to come out of the woodwork. You know what I mean? That's the danger of not fucking processing your shit. You know? Quite honestly, it's a pain in the balls. Like, if you don't rectify this shit, if you don't face these ghosts, they're gonna come after your fucking family, dude. For real. Like, they were the sins of the father. A religious thing. You touching upon the Pope and Catholicism. There's a reason they wrote about this shit in the books, because it's absolutely true. You know? You leave unresolved ghosts to say, I don't believe in this shit. You know what I mean? You're leaving it for your fucking kids. Quite honestly. Without even knowing it. And if you leave them oblivious, it'll go on and on and on. They'll become a corruption. And it'll begin to manifest. It'll begin to manifest in ways predictable and sometimes unpredictable. Maybe beneficial. Some people believe only in the guardian angels, but they don't believe in the fucking ghosts and the spirits. Especially if they haven't been laid to rest properly. You know, there's a reason The Sixth Sense was like such a popular flick, and the poor kid had to deal with it. You know what I mean? I find that, you know, I'm not like the poor kid, because I'm not like with rando ghosts, not too often. Once in a blue, Camp Hero shit kind of, you know, like stay away from that shit. But like this big black ship going south, it's like, you know, they will find a way. They will find a way, wherever it may be. And it's like, whoa, you know, woe to those who don't rectify and aren't open to the rectification. There's a lot of folk tales and a lot of different beliefs, and whether they can be proven scientifically or whether they are simply manifestations of the beliefs of the families of when they passed, you know, the shit, the things do manifest. They manifest. The things that were like furthest from my mind. I'm like smoking a cigarette in front of a bar and somebody says a name that like I've only known in passing, you know, and they say this and this happened to her, and he's laughing like a fucking maniac, you know what I mean? Like, oh, what they did. And he had like zero reason for saying any of it, because it hasn't been relevant, and I wasn't even alive when it occurred, but it wasn't even relevant. Hasn't been relevant for like 40 fucking years. And it's just coming out of this stranger's mouth. You know what I mean? Like, he himself was like a walking ghost. The dude probably said what he had to say and then fucking vanished into the woods and fucking died. You know what I mean? So, like, when people talk about generational trauma, it's important to lend an ear. And you got these psychiatrists who, you know, more than willing to subscribe a forever pill, because they get paid to do so. You know what I mean? Rather than actually rectify. And maybe the psychics and shit know a little bit more about it than I do, John Edwards or what have you. But it is what it is. I don't really subscribe to divining the future or the past through ghosts, you know, at all. I prefer the writing, the alchemaic side of things, for sure. You know, because the devil's in the details. Not to say it's beneath me, but, you know, people have never really been under my purview. The concept being more important. And maybe that concept itself needs work, you know. But maybe it's part of a thing that I don't understand. But it does make sense, the rectification. I think Jimmy Cameron touched on it with his Pandora bullshit, but he touched on it with that movie where it always manifests as good for everything. And you know, just like somebody's trying to get a message through that may not entirely be relevant, same thing with the ghosts, but it can affect people, you know what I mean? Stephen King touched upon it in The Shining with the old man. He like travels all this fucking way just to get axed in the fucking, you know, axed in the ribs for no reason, you know what I mean? He broke his balls getting back up there, and he didn't really have to, because the old man was gonna fucking freeze in the garden anyways, regardless of what he did. So he just went up there to die. Maybe he knew it, maybe he didn't. I mean, that's the nature of things. You know, maybe his spirit had to be there to counteract, you know, Jack Nicholson's character. You know, he died in the warmth of the lobby. Jack Nicholson died out the gate. So the black man was condemned to be like the gatekeeper for the Jack Nicholson character in a sort of roundabout way. I don't know, I never read the book. And, you know, that's about it. Get the fishermen out here doing the fish thing. How you guys doing? With the fish bicycles. It's a nice thing. Usually they're on the pier, but these guys are like spread out. They got the lights on the fishing poles. You know, this is like I mean, looking at the poles and looking at the lights, it's like a fucking I know you can't really see much, but they're like industrial fishing poles here. Hey, free fish. You know, I don't know if the fish are good to eat here. I don't know if, like, they got 6 poles here. I don't know if I would eat 6 fish from these waters. But it's been a while since they were dumping, like, all the toxins into the iguanas and shit like that. We'll see. Saw some of the heavy duties, the foresters, the parks people, the other day, like 6 of them. Probably a cool job to have, but I'm not really like a forester type, and I'm not really a scheduled type either, you know. But again, what a fucking peaceful night. Monday morning, 1:45 in the morning. Just really, honestly, quite beautiful. You feel if there's like a little bit of that dew, that spring dew in the air, that dampness. Can't really smell the ocean because, like I said, the water's like glass. It's just a beautiful, peaceful feeling out here. So I take that as that's how I'm feeling due to the nature of certain aspects, and that's how I'm viewing the world here. And pretty good. You know, it's not raining. Maybe tomorrow will be a real nice day. We'll see. Slow day as far as the passengers, but not slow according to the work, if you catch my drift. Anyways, that'll be another one. Sticking to the long form is good. Maybe I'll put up a short or something about the Pope as a YouTube short. We'll play it by ear. And I'll call this one good too. Even the belt is fairly quiet. no motorcycle riders and everything, even though it's like a beautiful night for it. Like if you're a nighttime rider, like I was, this is like a beautiful night to fucking disturb everybody's peace, to wake the dead, as they say. Anyhow, I'll leave it there.